Folks, it's going to be a tough story. Brace. Hang on to your... So here's Mark Ruffalo doing what a person would do. He says, Mark Ruffalo talks Palestinian issues, calls Israel a kind of apartheid. You know why? Because it's an apartheid. It's not kind of. It's an apartheid. It's a two-tiered system. And here he is saying 1,500 Palestinians face expulsion in Jerusalem. 200 protesters have been injured. 9 children have been killed. Sanctions on South Africa helped free its black people. It's time for sanctions on Israel to free Palestinians. Join the call. So there he is. There he is calling for a BDS. That's nice. And then, you know, by the way, he's in the new movies. He just announced a new movie, I think, with Emma Stone or somebody, right? Did you check out what Mark Ruffalo's new movie is? Thank you. He's got a new movie. I saw it all over the socials that they were very excited to sign Mark Ruffalo onto this project. He's got a big new movie coming out. And now he says this: I have reflected, and I wanted to apologize for posts during the recent Israel-Hamas fighting that suggested Israel is committing a genocide. It's not accurate. It's inflammatory, disrespectful, and is being used to justify anti-Semitism here and abroad. Now is the time to avoid hyperbole. Let me rewrite that for Mark Ruffalo. I'm sorry I told you the truth about what the Israeli government is doing, and now someone close to my career is threatening me, so I have to say this. This very much sounds very much like when don't call it torture, call it enhanced interrogation techniques. And I apologize for insinuating you were torturing people. I apologize for being so disrespectful to who? Who did you disrespect? The people who are killing babies? The people who are bombing apartment buildings? Who are you being disrespectful to? The people instituting an apartheid state? Who are you being disrespectful to? This is how much power Israel has. They could get an A-list actor to completely humiliate himself and reveal he doesn't really have character. Isn't that wild? Characters when you have to do something when it's hard, not when it's easy, not when it's be when it's hard. And so what that does is turn him into a shit liberal. Cannot be counted on. Do you see why there's no left in America? Do you see why there's no left in America? Even a fucking actor can't tell the truth about what's happening in the world. Why? Because he has to protect his acting career. Somehow he got threatened. So, he says now is the time to avoid hyperbole. Mark, now is the time for you to avoid complicity. Stop being complicit. And that's not hyperbole. Actually, when you bomb a densely populated, shelterless, open-air prison, when you bomb hospitals and roads and doctors and vital infrastructure, that is a genocide, Mark. When you speak of flattening the strip and vow to not stop bombing Gaza until there's complete quiet, that is intent to genocide, Mark. In other words, Mark, that's not hyperbole. And shame on you, Mark Ruffalo. It's okay for you to be cowardly, but don't project it onto other people. Don't project other people telling the truth as being hyperbolic. You fucking cuck. Enjoy your new movie. Professor Zenkis says, I have reflected, and unlike Mark Ruffalo, I'd like to reiterate that, yes, Israel is committing genocide against the Palestinians, and it must stop. Genocide is defined as, quote, the intentional action to destroy a people in whole or in part. That is exactly what is happening. Hey, Mark, I love and respect your activism, but take it from a Jew. The term genocide is fitting since it is indeed the aim of Zionism to remove every Arab from the land, which has been done by ethnic cleansing and mass murders. By the way, here's what I said about it. I go, the irony is that the guy who plays the Hulk becomes a huge wimp when other people get angry at him. That's the irony. That was actually Malcolm Fleshner's joke. He let me have it. He let me have it. You're supposed... Abusive Israeli policies constitute crimes of apartheid, persecution. Crimes against humanity should trigger action to end repression of Palestinians. That's according to Human Rights Watch, Mark. Your apology needs an apology. You need to apologize for your apology. Otherwise, you're complicit in the bombing of Palestine, you fucking cuck. You're one of the top actors in all of Hollywood right now. How much more money do you need? Why won't you then go do a project on your own? Why won't you go do an interesting project? Oh no, you're gonna go do Frankenstein now? How much more fucking money do you need? You're gonna play the Easter Bunny next? Is this your acting dream? Here's another guy. Here's Bernie Sanders asked about the Palestine situation and the genocide and the apartheid. He's asked about apartheid, which it is.
A number of liberals who use the word apartheid to describe Israel's treatment of the Palestinians. A number of them liberals in the House who use that language. The executive director of the American Jewish Congress, who handled Jewish outreach for your campaign, has said that word, Joel Rubin, has said that using that word has increased the level of vitriol that has contributed to this anti-Semitism. Do you think those who share your view should not use that kind of language?
Well, I think we should tone down the rhetoric. I think our goal is very simple.
Bernie thinks we shouldn't call it an apartheid state. We need to tone down the rhetoric around genocide and apartheid. We need to tone police what's happening right now in Gaza. That's what Bernie just said. Is there still anybody angry at me for telling you the truth about Bernie a year ago? Because they've been coming back in droves. Hey, yeah, it was kind of hard for you to hear you say that shit about Bernie, but yeah, it's all true. Yeah, really, I unfollowed you because of that shit you said about Bernie, but god damn it. So Bernie is almost nothing what we had hoped he was. Almost nothing. He's another squad member. He'll do whatever Joe Biden lets him do. He'll do whatever Chuck Schumer lets him do, but he's never going to cross them or fight them. And he won't even call it an apartheid. He's afraid they're going to Russiagate him again. He'll probably going to Russiagate himself in fucking 5 seconds. Terrible response by Bernie. Recognizing apartheid and calling it out by name isn't rhetoric, Bernie. Holding Israel responsible for ethnic cleansing isn't anti-Semitism, Bernie. We need to tone down the rhetoric on accurately describing what an oppressive right-wing government is doing to the Palestinians. We need to tone that down. Don't listen to Bernie Sanders. Don't tone down the rhetoric. Call Israel what it is, a genocidal settler colony that is occupying Palestine and committing a long list of crimes, including the crime of apartheid. That's what Israel is. Don't budge. And tell Bernie to ask Nara Tandon to open her purse because apparently she's got his balls in there and has for quite a long time. What a nutless wonder Bernie Sanders is.
So I'll be honest with you, Jimmy. I'll start with Mark Ruffalo. I wasn't super totally familiar with his history. But this is a guy who, I mean, he was speaking out against fracking since 2008. He, even brought it up on the Rachel Maddow show, which I imagine wasn't super easy to do, to call out fracking on one of the big cable networks. He also, here's one of his tweets that I think is pretty good. He tweeted this in 2019: until George W. Bush is brought to justice. And keep in mind, this is in 2019 when George W. Bush has been rehabilitated and he's just a nice guy who paints now. Until George W. Bush is brought to justice for the crimes of the Iraq War, including American-led torture, Iraqi deaths and displacement, and the deep scars, emotional and otherwise, inflicted on our military that served his folly, we can't even begin to talk about kindness. So, this guy has a history of putting his neck out there. And so it's pretty disappointing to see this from him after he, did the right thing and then apologized for it.
Well, it's worse than disappointing because what he's actually doing, he is giving cover to people doing this horrible shit in Gaza, and also giving cover to people who tell us to shut up, that we're being anti-Semitic. Now he's backing that up, that we're being somehow disrespectful. He just said you're being disrespectful. So I don't know what happened. You're right. Mark Ruffalo seemed to be able to say and do the right thing until it was going to cost him something. And that's, I guess, the true mark of character. And so when it came down to it, Mark Ruffalo decided to throw people like you and me under the bus and tell people that you and me are anti-Semitic and being disrespectful, and that we're being hyperbolic. That's what Mark Ruffalo is doing right now with his platform to the world. He's saying that people like you and me, Ron, are being anti-Semitic, disrespectful, and hyperbolic.
Well, I hope he watches some of the footage of people's homes being destroyed.
He's seen it.
And, well, then I don't see how you can watch that and call it hyperbolic.
Well, because he's lacking the character it takes to tell the fucking truth when it's going to cost him something. That's what this is. That's all this is. And I guess Ron, we're lucky that I don't, it's not going to cost me anything to tell the truth. I mean, it's going to cost me all my shitlib friends, like it always has. It's gotten me smear articles, and it's gotten Wikipedia to fucking print smears on me. I mean, I get that. It gets me throttled on YouTube. I guess I do pay a price for it. I guess I do pay a price for it.
Now that I start listing these things, I guess they do add up.
And I still do it. I'm never gonna apologize for telling you the truth about a government committing a genocide or about a government committing an apartheid because my career's in jeopardy. So it'd be one thing if he was just propping up Israel. It's another thing that he's throwing people like me under the bus. And that's what's unforgivable. That's what makes him a cuck. It's okay if you want to save your own career, but don't do it by fucking shitting and smearing people of conscience, because that's what he's doing. And shame on you, Mark Ruffalo. And I hope it's worth it for you. I hope when you're on your deathbed, you go, yeah, fuck those Palestinians. I got to do Superman. He's retweeting fucking Hillary Clinton right now. Do you know that?
No.
Yes, go to his Twitter feed. You think I'm kidding?
No.
He retweeted Hillary Clinton today.
No.
There it is. Happy to help. Thanks for making this documentary series, Saka Baron Cohen. Thank you, Hillary, for talking to me about misogyny. People who don't like Hillary are misogynists.
She probably only retweeted it because there's a picture of her somewhere.
Yes. Hillary Clinton is a psychopathic, bloodthirsty war criminal. She's not a good person. She's not a nice mommy. She's a bloodthirsty, psychopathic, red-baiting, McCarthy-smearing war criminal who giggles about murder.
And you can use the promo code WARCRIMINAL right now for 20% off at Stamps.com. Hillary Clinton's podcast.
Hey, everybody, this is the part where I tell you where all our live shows are, but there aren't any. And then this is why I tell you to join our premium program and get extra content, but nobody's got a fucking job. So just enjoy the video.